Oh, hey there! After a week's break, because of some unforeseen shenanigans, I'm back with some gameplay videos for you. I also made a Twitter account on which I will update you in case I can't upload or something else happens, which might sometimes be the case over the coming few weeks. The link to that will be in the description. In an unfortunate turn of events, due to some impactful gameplay mistakes, the pilot episodes are down to 4. Hopefully that at least. This and the next one are both rematches of the previous two. Today's rematch will be between Alex on Bravo and Anna on Azalea. Our contestants' starting hands are as follows. Alex has a red Cartilage Crush, 2 red Chokeslams and a blue Stonewall Confidence. Anna's hand is made up of a red Scour the Battlescape, a red Oasis Respite, a red Read the Glide Path and a blue Ridge Rider Shot. They roll the dice, Alex wins and decides to start the match. He starts us off with a big bang and plays a blue Stonewall Confidence, pitching a red Chokeslam and a red Cartilage Crush to pay for it. He then puts his other Chokeslam into Arsenal, draws 4 cards and passes to Anna. She begins her first turn with a red Read the Glide Path, buffing her next arrow by 3. She opts 1, doesn't like the card and puts it on the bottom. Death Dealer is then activated, a blue Ridge Rider Shot enters her arsenal face up and she draws a card. That is paid for by a red Oasis Respite. If Anna had remembered the words a wise man once said, she would have known that reading the card explains the card. Unfortunately, she misses the opt trigger on Ridge Rider Shot and blindly activates Azalea, hoping for an arrow on top of her library. Those hopes are dashed as she swaps out her arsenal card for a yellow Increase the Tension. After that debacle, she plays a red Scour the Battlescape to attack for 3. Alex decides to use a Steel Braid Buckler and Helm of Icen's Peak to block all of it. We move to the end step, Anna draws 3 and gives the turn to Alex. Stonewall Confidence triggers and is destroyed. A blue Crush the Weak then enters the pitch zone as Alex activates Bravo, giving his attacks that turn Dominate. That is followed by a red Chokeslam from Arsenal, which is paid for by a blue one from hand. Staring down 8 damage with a Crush effect and Dominate, Anna decides to block with Iron Rod Helm and Salvage Shot. Alex has no reactions and so Anna plays a red Oasis Respite from hand to prevent the remaining damage she was facing. In the cleanup step, Alex puts a card into Arsenal and draws 3. Back on Anna's turn, she starts with another blind Azalea activation. While she doesn't hit an arrow, she does get a yellow Fervent Forerunners, which gains Go Again if it's played from Arsenal. But with only 1 hand card left, she decides to keep it there for the next turn and refills her hand, passing back to Alex. He puts a red Macho Grande from Arsenal into the arena and pitches 3 blues to pay for it. This time facing 10 damage with Dominate instead of 8, Anna blocks with a red Ridge Rider Shot, Iron Rod Plate and Legs. Surprisingly, there was no pummel even though there were 2 floating. The first damage of the match is finally dealt and Anna drops to 15. Alex's hand card is put into Arsenal and the turn is once again passed over. Finally, the yellow Fervent Forerunners leaves Anna's arsenal and now attacks for 2 with Go Again. That is then blocked by red Debilitate. The combat chain is then broken for a Death Dealer activation. Anna pitches a yellow Headshot to pay for it and puts a red Hamstring Shot into Arsenal, then draws a card. She then plays a blue Read the Glide Path to buff her next arrow by 1 and opts 1 as well. She doesn't like what she sees and puts it on the bottom. Then another blue Read the Glide Path does more of the same, but this time she likes her top card. After that, Hamstring Shot is finally played and attacks for 7. Alex decides not to worry about the on-hit effect too much and blocks 4 damage with a blue Thump and Iron Rod Legs. He takes 3, goes to 17 and his first attack on his next turn now costs 1 additional resource. The turn is over, Anna draws back to full and hands it over to Alex. His turn comes and goes quite quickly as he pitches Crush Confidence to activate Helm of Icen's Peak. Bravo now gains +1 intelligence until end of turn and we enter the end phase where Alex now draws 4 cards for a total of 5. Back to Anna's turn we go, as she activates Death Dealer with a blue Fervent Forerunner. She puts a red Fate Teak Shot into arsenal and draws. The arrow is then immediately played with one of her floating resources. As it has an especially annoying on-hit effect for Guardians, Alex decides to go for a clean block and puts down a Pummel and a Cartilage Crush to achieve that. With no action points left, Anna goes to her end step, puts a card into arsenal and draws some cards. Alex decides to actually play the game now as well, as he destroys Hardened Crosstrap and Goliath Gauntlet to reduce the next attack's resource cost by 2 and buff its power by 2 as well. He follows that up with a red Slogism, buffing his next attack by another 6, and pitches a blue. And he finishes that off with a red Debilitate, pitching another blue to pay for it. Debilitate now threatens 16 damage and a crush effect that would reduce the power of Anna's next attack by 2. She blocks 6 with a Pathing Helix and another card from hand, as well as another one with Hornet's Sting. As she defends with it, she reveals the top card of her deck. It's not an arrow, so she has to put it on the bottom of her deck. Damage is then dealt and she takes 9, moving to 6. The turn ends and Alex, again with a full hand, passes the turn to Anna. She plays a yellow Read the Glide Path, and not only is its buff nullified, Anna also forgets to use its opt effect. Remember your triggers, kids! A red Timidity point then leaves her arsenal and she pitches a red Headshot for the cost. Alex isn't timid at all and doesn't need Dominate, okay? So he takes 5 damage and attacks can't gain Dominate on his next turn. Anna cleans up, draws 4 and Alex is back on the move. Alex immediately presents lethal damage with a red Cartilage Crush. He pitches a blue to pay for it. Anna blocks 6 of the incoming damage with Timidity point and another arrow from hand. In the reaction step, Alex slams down a red Pummel, pitching a blue to increase his Cartilage Crush's damage by 4. As she has no defense reactions, Anna takes 5 damage and drops down to her last point of health. She then discards a Pathing Helix to Pummel's effect and, due to Crush, her first action on her next turn costs 1 additional resource. Happy with his turn, Alex cleans up, refills his hand cards and passes it back to Anna. With only a single hand card, she puts it into arsenal, refills her hand as well and gives it back right away. Delighted by this turn of events, Alex plays a red Seismic Stir, creating 3 Seismic Surge tokens. To pay for it, he pitches a blue Pummel. He then puts a card into arsenal, draws 3 and once again it's Anna's turn. You know, we don't always have to fight in Flesh and Blood. Live and let live. For some reason, Anna decides to break that peace by playing a red Read the Glide Path. She opts 1, doesn't like her top deck and puts that card on the bottom. She then counts the arrows in her graveyard and decides to go for another blind Azalea activation. Her arsenal card is then replaced by a red Scar for a Scar. Once again no arrow, but Go Again is certainly active for Scar. It hits the battlefield right away to attack for 4. Scar for Scar connects and Alex drops to 8. Anna activates Death Dealer by pitching a red card and puts a red Searing Shot into arsenal. 2 red Pointer Tips then hit the battlefield, both buffing her next arrow by 3. Searing Shot is then played with a total of 13 power and an on-hit trigger of 1 life loss. Since lethal damage is now pointed in his direction, Alex blocks with Thump, another card from hand and Steel Braid Buckler to prevent 7 damage. He then takes 6 and loses 1 more to the on-hit effect. And just like that, both of our contestants are at 1 HP. Now pretty happy with herself, Anna refills her hand and passes the turn to Alex. At the beginning of his turn, the Seismic Surge tokens are destroyed, reducing the cost of his next Guardian attack by 3. A free Cartilage Crush then comes at Anna for 5. Seemingly Alex didn't read his card either, as he pays an additional resource with a blue. Luckily that doesn't affect the outcome, so all's well. Anna, unafraid of the 2 floating, overblocks a bit for 6. Faster than lightning, Alex then plays a red Pummel from arsenal with his 2 floating resources. Cartilage Crush now deals 3 damage to Anna as she loses her remaining health. Congratulations to Alex for this win. Thank you. What an incredibly defensive game with setups for real big swing attacks in return. While early on it seemed like Alex was dominating in true Bravo fashion, all it took was one insane turn from Anna to even it out. At 1 HP no less. Now, if you enjoy what you see, then please consider liking the video and subscribing, because there will be a lot more deck tech videos for all kinds of formats, as well as gameplay videos coming your way. I'm gonna peace out now, take care.